Hello, marry me. This is going to be a reply for DrawingKenaz when it comes to Reiki. Now, DrawingKenaz made a video and I will post to her original video down there where she said that she is skeptical about Reiki and asked if anybody had any experience. So, yeah. First of all, let me start before saying anything else by saying, no, it's not wrong in any way, shape, or form that you are skeptical about Reiki. It's not like since we are occultists, we have to believe in absolutely every single alternative thing out there. It's good that when one's bullshit detector goes off, that one listen to it. It's there for a reason. So there's nothing wrong at all with you being skeptical about Reiki. Now, let me say that I do not practice Reiki myself, so I am an energy healer. My mother, however, uh, practices Reiki and does so professionally. It's her job. She's a professional healer. So she practices that along with aromatherapy, acupuncture, and a few other forms of alternative therapy. So, yes, I have had a lot of experience with Reiki, my mother healing me, and so on and so forth. And I also have several friends who are Reiki practitioners, and I've had mostly positive experiences with it. I can usually feel it when my mother uses Reiki on me. I feel the flow of energy. But like again, I said, I am an energy healer myself. I think I was 8 or so when people first said I had warm hands. Now this is a term very often used in Norway to say somebody is a healer. Basically, it's very common in Norway for healers to lay on hands, and the common term is having warm hands. And while I am a chaos magician, the energy, so basically the energy model is my favorite. So yeah, now first of all, um, Reiki is not a unique energy. It's not like we have Reiki energy here and then we have every other kind of energy here. Reiki is a method, not the energy itself. So that what is used in Reiki is the same that is used in a Wiccan ritual or in martial arts or in any other kinds of energy systems. You can call it chi, you can call it prana, you can call it, well, there are a million words for it. Reiki is more a method of interacting with this energy. It's a magic system, if you will. It's not an energy in and of itself. Now, I do agree with you with your skepticism about the in and out, get attuned on an afternoon thing. However, there's one very important thing that you're missing, and that is that anyone that's actually serious when it comes to Reiki don't claim that you will become a Reiki healer in one afternoon of attunement. Basically, what attunements do is open you up so that you can receive this energy. Then you have to work on it and work on it and work on it. For example, the school that my mother went to, they recommended that somebody work with Reiki, various exercises and so on and so forth, for at least an hour each day, for quite some time after their attunement. And they also have a limit to how quickly you could take the master attunement after you have taken the two first. And of course, the problem is that Reiki has become big business. And when something becomes big business, things have a tendency to go to shite. So that there are a lot of people who offer Reiki attunements who are not that serious, but have found out that this is a quick and easy way to make a buck. However, that doesn't mean that the system itself is bad, it just means that one should be somewhat critical who one learns from. Now, originally, the reason why these attunements were expensive is that the founders of Reiki, they wanted only people who were actually dedicated to it to study it. And as such, originally the cost was a percentage of what somebody earns. Meaning that if Bill Gates wanted to study Reiki, his fee would have been in the millions. While if a poor village woman were to study Reiki, her payment might be 5 eggs. And I don't see a huge problem with this. I think that might be a good idea. In a way, that was their way of preventing what has very much happened in a lot of other occult fields, where the entry ticket is very low, so that there's a lot of people who are not very serious about it, who jump on the bandwagon and then sort of create a bad name for everybody else. However, this has eventually then just developed into teachers taking whatever price they want and it becoming very commercial. There are also several different lineages of Reiki with somewhat different ideas. In one, for example, it's very important where you place your hands, and you go through almost a ritual where the hands are placed there, and then there, and then there, and so on. While another one is more intuitive, where you place your hands where you feel they are needed. And uh, there are also different groups that have vastly different. There's even one Reiki tradition that mixes Reiki with Egyptian magic. So yeah, um, but generally to tie up the whole thing about attunements, basically you can see it as this attunement, the same as when you attune yourself to a new ritual tool. It's not that you use a special kind of magic. It's more that you haven't worked with that tool and the energy that tools bring to it before, so you do a ritual to attune yourself with it. The same way, basically, attunement just uh, connects the lines. However, the real work at becoming good with Reiki, that is in the practitioner. It is in how much work does he or she put into it. So yeah, um, also, it should be noted that within the Reiki community, there has been a lot of debate lately on whether or not attunements are really necessary. If somebody can just learn the hand placements and the symbols, because when you work with Reiki, you do draw symbols in your mind that helps direct and strengthen the energy. If people learn this and work with it, if they really need that attunement, or if the attunements are just sort of jump starting the whole thing, but that you can do it yourself. Of course, there are strong opposition to this view because of, well, the money aspect. People who have paid good money to become Reiki masters um, want to get value for their money so they can attune others. But there are a lot who think like that. And to basically, I use another energy system, and I have been able to interact with my mother's use of Reiki quite efficiently. Basically, she can usually feel it when I start using this energy system, even if I sit completely still and don't appear to be doing it. So yeah, and I can very easily feel when she uses Reiki on me at least, and sometimes when she uses it otherwise. So I tend to fall into the category of believing that attunement is a way to jump-starting things, but that it isn't strictly necessary. Now, for experiences with Reiki, there's been so many, it's very hard to point at, to just tell you all about them, but I should just pick out a few. I have general anxiety syndrome. This is basically means that my brain overloads on fear at times when there is no reason for it. So I was visiting my mom, and in the middle of the night I woke up with an anxiety attack, and it lasted for a little while, and then suddenly I felt this calm come over me, and then I just fell asleep again and slept peacefully until morning. The anxiety attack gone. And I mean, these attacks can be quite powerful and very uncomfortable. Well, when we sat eating breakfast, my mother asked me, "Did you have anxiety this night?" I told her, "Yeah, did I wake you up or something?" I thought I was pretty quiet. She said, "No, no, you didn't, but I woke up knowing that you had anxiety and I sent Reiki to you." And I've had another experience like that when then I was in my home. I live near a city called Bergen. It's the second biggest city in Norway. And she lives in a small town called Jevnaker, which is located about in the middle between Oslo and Lillehammer. And basically, there are 6 hours, five by trains and the rest with other transportation between us. But anyway, I was having a anxiety attack, and suddenly there was this calm come over me, and my mother again asked me if I had that attack, and she had sent Reiki to me. And other than that, I can't really tell you how many times I've had some sort of problem, and she has used Reiki, and I generally feel it. And for me, generally what Reiki does is that small things like a headache and so on, Reiki can usually fix like this. Bigger things like for that basically anything like a cold or an injury and so on. Generally, using Reiki has made it heal a lot faster. But for me, the biggest um, effect that Reiki has had on me is with my mental issues. And Reiki, it responds very well to that, and often Reiki can stop an anxiety or depression attack because sometimes my general anxiety syndrome turns into depression and can often fix the problem right then and there. I have also seen my mother use Reiki for non-healing purposes. The most impressive one, and I don't think she really believes it herself, is that when I was still living at home, our microwave had long since gone kaput. But we didn't use it that much because my mother is a big believer in natural food, and we really only used it to basically make those microwave popcorns. So we hadn't really done anything with it. It had stopped working, and it wasn't a priority to get a new one. Anyway, my mother were training uh, on Reiki, and she had been told that she should try to heal electrical appliances. And she thought this was complete bullshit. But she had been told so by her teacher, so she decided to do it anyway. And so she puts her hand on the microwave and do the hand signals and do the drawings of the symbols in her mind. Then she pressed the button and the microwave works. And yeah, and it worked all until she inherited a better one from my grandmother. So yeah, make of that what you will. I mean, some say perhaps she shook it when she took on it, but we have looked at it, so I don't know, but it was pretty interesting. And now, as for healing of others, um, And I have saved the best for last. My best Reiki story for last. When I was a little girl, I kept little pet mice. I'm not sure what that type of mice is called in English. We call them dancing mice. They're very, very tiny, not bigger than this. Anyway, uh, my mice at the time, her name was Chili Pepper. And she was 2 years old, which is basically the max age of those kinds of mice. She was very, very ill. Uh, she had cramps, violent cramps. So she just shook around in the cage, and he was trying to draw air into her lungs and couldn't do it. It was very horrible to look at. And I know that you should have put her out of her misery, but neither me and my mother were able to do that. So my mother decided, okay, just bring her here, and I will try to use Reiki on her. So I took the mice, and the mouse is single, isn't it? Yeah, mouse, my mother, in her cage, and my mother sat using Reiki, and almost immediately Chili Pepper calmed down. And we had this little house inside her cage filled with some material that looks like cotton but isn't, and where she sleeps. And she immediately went into that nest and slept. And I thought, well, that's amazing. And I mean, I expected to find her dead in the morning, and I was just thankful that my mother had managed to calm her down. That she wasn't in pain anymore. She slept peacefully. So we waited for a few hours just to see that the mouse didn't, that the gasping for breath and cramps didn't continue, and then we went to bed. In the morning, however, I found Chili Pepper in her food bowl eating. And my mother continued to give her Reiki, and 2 days later the mouse was completely fine. Over the next year, my mother gave Chili Pepper Reiki every now and then, and the mouse lived for another year. That is about the same as if you had a deathly ill 95-year-old human who had cramp and breathing problems, and they got Reiki and lived another 50 years. And it should also be noted that when Chili Pepper eventually did die, she just fell asleep peacefully. That's the most amazing Reiki story I have. So, yeah, for me, I 100% believe Reiki works. I think it's a great system. It's a very simple system. It's based. That's, I think, perhaps is one of the biggest benefits of Reiki, is that it's simple. Anyone can do it. There's a lot of energy systems that might require you to learn a lot of different things. Some might require you to have inborn abilities. Reiki is there for everyone. I am, however, completely in agreement with you that the big business aspect of it is problematic, and those Reiki instructors who it tells you that no, you can just have this attunement and be on this course for an hour and then you're a healer. Boom, boom, boom. No, it doesn't work like that. You get attunements, then you're attuned to the energy. Then you work with it and work with it and work with it ad nauseam. Then you become a Reiki healer. So is there a lot of bad quality in the Reiki community because of the big business? Yeah. You should be very careful with who you learn from. But I do think it's a very good energy system. Also, just one more thing before I end this video. You said you felt nothing when Reiki was used on you. It could be that that system just doesn't mesh with you. I mean, there are people who are wondrous at uh, at Golden Dawn style ritual magic, who then decides to try to work with Wiccan systems, and they just nothing happens because it's not something that works for them. The same as I know somebody who trying tarot deck after tarot deck, it didn't work. The tarot just wouldn't respond to them. but I am wonderful with divining with runes. So it could be that just Reiki isn't for you, Reiki just doesn't mesh well with you. So yeah, I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. And also if you have any questions for my mother who has been working with Reiki commercially for how many years is it? 15, 16 years? Just let me know, and she isn't on YouTube, but I can just ask her those questions and get back to you with them. So yeah, I hope you have a great day and blessed be.